It's time. It's time, motherfuckers. It is the year-end list videos that I absolutely love to make, despite whatever gripe you might have about them. But I'm doing it different this year. The last 2 years that I've done this, I've just done a really long video and showing them all off and droned on for hours. Well, like an hour. And I kind of hated that format because my attention span is about 20 minutes, and after that I start to kind of look at my phone and do other shit. So I'm going to break this up in a 5-part video series. That's right, a 5-part video series. The final video will be in a couple of weeks. I'm going to spread this out a little bit so I can give some people some time to review the videos. But the 5th video is going to be my top 10 death metal albums of the year. Yes, I ranked my top 10. I mentioned that I was going to do that. The rest of these are just 40 other albums that I love this year that deserve to be talked about, that deserve to be in a year-end list, and deserve to be shouted out as some of the best music to come out this year in terms of death metal and grindcore and whatever extreme metal genre that I did not talk about in my black metal video. So that's what I'm doing this year. So today is albums 50 through 41 in no order whatsoever. I'm not ranking these at all. Like I said, just my top 10, because let's be honest here, my top 10 is my top 10. These are my all-time favorite albums of the year. They're the ones that really, hit me in the head and knocked me out and made me feel things and all those other things, and I listened to the most and had the most emotional outburst of of insanity. So that's why I'm doing it this way. But I have shown off so much music this year. I've talked about so much music this year. So much has come out this year that deserves a special shout out as being some of the best music to come out this year, as I just said. So that is what I'm doing, and that is the format I'm doing this year. So this is video number 1 of the series, and I'm probably not going to cover everything that you guys like. There was a lot that came out this year, and there was a lot of underground stuff that I think I missed, and I know that for a fact that I missed it. So the best thing about year-end lists for me, that I've said several times already now, is in the comments, throw out what I've missed. And chances are it could be in the other videos that are going to be uploaded, so that's okay, and I'll mention that. But for the most part, I love this time of the year. It has nothing to do with the holidays, because I fucking hate the holidays. But I love this time of the year because everybody's year-end lists are different. I always find a new band. I always find a new label. There's always something new out there that I learn about, and I absolutely love that. So I love this is like a kind of like a sharing of all of the things that I enjoy about the social media space when it comes to death metal and extreme metal as a whole. So, all right, out of the way. Okay, so I've got a lot to talk about today. I'm going to try my best to not make these long videos, but we'll see. The first one is Dripping Decay with Festering Grotesqueries, and I just realized I didn't pull this album, but I did do a whole entire video dedicated to this album a while ago, right after it came out. So that's just more editing on my part, because I'm going to edit the album cover on here. But Dripping Decay is a band out of Portland. They're a U.S. death metal band. This is their first full-length album, so their debut full-length that came out on Satanic Royalty Records. And I really loved their EP that they put out last year called, their demo that came out about 2 years ago, give or take, more like a year and a half, called Watching You Rot. I got it off of Headsplit Records. I became a fan of the band, and then they released their debut this year. This is filthy, disgusting, murky, just makes you feel like you should probably take a shower after you throw up from listening to it, death metal. That is what you're getting with this band. You can almost just tell that by the album cover, but it is really fun. And it's definitely been one of my favorite death metal records to listen to this year. Some of the members, I guess you could say this is kind of a super group, because some of the members are in other bands that people are familiar with, like Frightmare, which is actually a fun band. What else? Hallucinator was the other one that I was thinking of, and I didn't write in my notes the other band that I'm thinking of. So these guys, been in the scene, they write filthy death metal. It is definitely worth your ears, especially if you're looking for something a little bit more of that underground, disgusting sound. This is the perfect album for you. Next is an album that I actually didn't talk about on my channel at all this year, and that is simply just because I took forever to order a physical copy, and generally when I talk about an album on my channel, it's because I've got the physical copy in my collection. I finally came around and ordered it last week, so it's coming. So apologies on that, but this is one of my favorite releases to come out this year, and that is Depraved Murder with Unethical Terrestrial Collapse. So this is on Comatose Music, and this is a band that I've never discussed on my channel whatsoever, and that's immediately because this is the first time I've ever heard them. It is a brutal death metal band out of Indonesia, and this is their third full-length album. This album actually took me by surprise. It came out relatively earlier in the year. I got a promo of it. I don't actually know how I got the promo of it, because I don't think that I was even on a promo list, but I listened to it and really enjoy it. Now, brutal death metal, I've often said, is a genre of music that I absolutely adore and love for a lot of the nostalgic reasons of the early 90s brutal death metal sounds. However, it can be a little bit saturated in terms of the genre, so it's very hit or miss with me when it comes to these newer bands. This band definitely is the exception to that rule. It's got that snappy snare sound that I absolutely love. Fucking love the snappy snare. The brutal death metal vocals, the squeals, and the brutality. It all is cohesively well written together. Each song stands out on their own, and they even bring a technicality to their riffs that just make the songs so good. It is a seamless album, not a single bad song on this album, and I absolutely love it. So this is probably one of the most listened digital downloads that I have in my Bandcamp that I've listened to this year. It's one of those albums that I pretty much have been popping on at least once a week, because let's just face it, I like the brutes and I like the gurgs, and this is the type of music that I listen to a lot, despite some of the other stuff that I show off on this channel. So check this band out, check this album out, especially if you're a brutal death metal fan. You probably already know about it, but I'm just saying, you should check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. Next is another band that is also on Comatose Records. That is Horror Bethlehem with Ritual Homicide. Again, another band that I didn't talk about this year, sadly, and that is because I waited forever to order the physical copy of. But this is another album that I've streamed a ton on my Bandcamp page and fell in love with the album. Again, another brutal death metal. They've got a little bit more of that blackened sound to it, but they definitely have more of that brutal death metal sound to it as well. So it's kind of like a blackened brutal death metal band, blackened death metal, slightly, ever so slightly. This is their third full-length album. The band is out of Texas, so shout out Texas death metal. Some of the best goddamn bands in the scene right now. And it's really good. It will rip your face off and stomp it to the ground. It has precision riffs, really, eerie melodies, just awesome ripping solos. And then there's those knuckle-dragging beats that beat down in the vicious vocals. Again, they all cohesively go together really well, and it's just a really fun, heavy as hell album that I have really been enjoying this year. So please check this out if you have not. The next one is this. I knew as soon as Dylan from Headsplit Records sent this to me, this was going to be on my year-end list, and this was a long time ago, and that is Seeping Protoplasm with Exhale Extinction. He sent this to me in a package of an order that I did. He just threw it in there for me to listen to, and I fell in love with it as soon as I heard it. I actually even talked about this on the Heavy Metallurgy stream that we did of our favorite albums so far this year. I called this out in there. Again, this has been one of my favorite albums to come out this year. It's been there. It's been something that I've gone back to several times. The band is from Japan, death metal band. This is their first full-length album. I've never heard anything else that they've done besides this, and it's just worthy of your listen. This is an ode to that old school death metal sound of that really dirty production. Definitely, if I wasn't familiar with those older old school death metal bands, I would assume that's exactly what this is. It was a gem that they dug up and reissued. That's exactly what you're getting with this album. It is very dirty sounding. It's got that trash can banging of the drums, but it goes really well. And if you're a chaser of that sound, you're going to really enjoy this album. So check it out. Again, I cannot praise this enough. And once again, Headsplit Records, one of the best goddamn labels in the scene. Please go check them out. And thank you once again for sending this to me. Again, another underground death metal gem that I have also talked about and praised and also called out as some of my favorite metal albums to come out so far this year on the Heavy Metallurgy stream, and that is Grotesqueries with Vile Cemetery. Vile Crematory. Hey. All right. Cemetery, Crematory, they're close enough. This is on Caligari Records. Caligari is, again, another amazing underground death metal label. They put out awesome stuff. I've shown a lot of their releases off on this channel over the years, and this is one of the best albums that they have come out with this year, and one of the best underground death metal albums to come out this year. Full stop. It is relentless, assaulting death metal. It is crushing riffs. It's got that suffocating style of vocals. Just, again, that dirty sounding production. And again, if this came out today with no inclination of that they were a new band, I would assume it had come out in the early 90s of the old school death metal era. So the band is from Boston, Massachusetts. And again, this is also their first full-length album. Highly, highly recommended. Check this out. It is so, so good. Okay, we are getting to a couple of other ones now. Ones that I've already talked about on here, but, they're worthy of having another shout out. Sorry, I got to bend down and get it. So the next one is, and there is no bias here, just so you know, is The Glorious Dead with Cemetery Paths, Binder Recordings. And yes, this is Marty's band. He did send this to me well before it came out. This has been one of my favorite spins this year. I've hyped it up quite a bit on my channel, into my groups of friends. I like this album a lot. These guys are, a bunch of older guys in the scene. They've been in the death metal scene for a long time, and they're writing pretty much what I call ode to old school death metal, and they're doing it right. It's not that oversaturated death metal sound that everybody is complaining about. This is a very, very good album, and the one call out that I always have mentioned is that TJ's vocals are so sinister and evil sounding on this record, and I absolutely love it. So check this out. And again, their first album is also very good. So this is definitely going to fly under the radar this year, but it's worthy of your ears to listen to. And the next one is one that I don't own yet. It actually does not come out until December 15th. And this is Sulfuric Hatred with their self-titled album on Sentient Ruin Laboratories. Now, I got an advanced promo of this, so you're probably wondering how is it on my list if it hasn't even come out yet. And that is why I've been listening to it for a little over a month now. If you're not familiar with this band, this is their first full-length album. They have never released anything previous to this other than a demo that I didn't even hear before that. This is blackened death metal, and this is the singer of Undeath Alex's band. So that is one of those things that you may not know. This album is really good, and I hate that it's not out yet when I'm releasing this video, but definitely go listen to it. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. It is definitely got that suffocating, chaotic sound to it, but it is done very well. And if you hear me saying it's Alex from Undeath, it is nothing like Undeath. It is a totally different sound. It's that blackened death metal suffocating sound with a little bit of that chaos and just crushingness that I absolutely love. Sentient Ruin is one of the best labels, again, that I think gets not enough love that it should. And they tend to put out those types of albums that I really, really enjoy. And this is definitely one of them. So check it out when it comes out. I have it on pre-order. It just hasn't been sent yet. So when I get the vinyl in, I'm definitely going to do a whole entire video just on that album because it's worthy of that. The next one is another Sentient Ruin Laboratories release. This actually did not come out until December 1st, but again, I got an early promo of it, and that is Abyssal Rift with Extirpation Dirge. It only took me, 14 minutes to not be able to pronounce something. That's pretty good. Usually it's like the first album I talk about. This is fantastic death metal with incredible drumming and doomy elements into it. There is a little bit of resemblance of Blood Incantation on their first album. It's not that ambient shit that they put out, in a more heavier aspect. So if Blood Incantation decided to go incredibly more dissonant and crushing and heavy, this would probably be that record. Yeah, It's really, really, really good. This was a surprise to me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I have. I've probably heard it now for about a month, and I've been listening to it a ton. And I've been seeing a lot of praise on it ever since it came out last week, so that makes me happy. The band is out of the US, and this is their first full length. They don't have anything else out ahead of that. It looks like it's only a 2-piece, and it's really, really good. And like I said, they have those doomy elements into it, and it's not just that slow down death metal that they consider doom. Like, it is legitimately got the doom elements that they mix really, really well with that cavernous, suffocating death metal sound. So check it out. It is a really, really good album. The next is another one that is not out yet, but again, I got an advanced promo to it, and that is Jarhead Fertilizer with Carceral Warfare. Now, Jarhead Fertilizer is one of those bands that is pretty much a super group. It's got members of Full of Hell in it, and it's got pretty much 3 members of Full of Hell. So this is like their second band. They came out with an album a couple of years ago called Product of My Environment, which was awesome and one of my favorite releases back then. This is on Closed Casket Activities. It comes out December 8th. I've listened to it several times, and I even mentioned a couple of days ago that, hey, if you've got your year-end list locked down, you might want to wait till this comes out, because it is a very, very good album. It is death metal with a lot of other elements littered into it. It's got the industrial sound. It's got the high-pitched screaming that you're used to hearing, and more of like that grindcore slash, I guess, power violence. Let's not get on that again. But it is not a standard death metal album. It's got it's a mixed bag of sonic assaults to your ears. It's a very good album. I like this album so much more than their first album. They've definitely progressed their sound, and just, it's different. It's a different listen. It's not the conventional death metal music that I'm used to listening to, and I absolutely love it. So I'm excited for people to hear it. I think it's going to kind of throw a wrench in those year-end lists if you've already cemented them. But definitely just put the brakes on a little bit. I think some people are really going to enjoy this album, so it is very good. And finally, the last one for today's video is, without a doubt, one that I've talked about several times on here, promoted it like crazy, and that is Lepoma, Odes to Suffering. I could not leave this off my year-end list, because this is one that I have taken off my shelf several times and listened to extensively. Gore grind is not my all-time favorite music genre. I have called that out several times on here. It is a very hit or miss thing for me. However, this band does it in a way that I really enjoy. It's got riffs, it's got filthiness. I love the vocals, and this has been one of those albums that I've gone back to because it's just fun to listen to. And when I'm in the mood for something that is not going to wrap my brain, that makes me have to think about what I'm listening to or try and figure out what intricacies are going on in the background, this is that album for me. This is out on Grand Vomit Productions, another awesome underground label that you should check out. One thing to call out about this is their second full-length album. They have a ton of splits and EPs and comps that have come out. So it's, yeah, I mean, what do you expect? That's how a lot of gore grind bands are. And the other thing to call out is this is a one-man band. He does everything. Max Pierce, he does the vocals, the guitars, the drums. The drums are drum programming, but it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I really enjoy it. So a great album. Check this out. Again, I couldn't leave this off. So there you have it. That is the first round of my favorite albums to come out in 2023 for death metal. Are there things on here that you didn't know about? I'm sure there are. I know I called out, 3 albums that technically haven't come out yet or just came out like within the last week. A lot of people have been giving me a little bit of grief about that. And again, it happens. I mean, the Decibel end list, same thing. They had some stuff on there that hadn't come out yet. We get promos. We listen to them. And so I'm just thankful to be able to be in that realm now. And promo lists are not hard to get on. Like they hand those things out like candy. So there you go. So part 2 will be coming up next week. I'll be recording and editing these. The final top 10 will be probably right before Christmas. And I do plan to put all of these videos together as one. It'll be very long, probably over an hour long, but some people would rather watch it in that format. So that'll be coming after the 5th series of this comes out. So thank you all, and I will see you in the next one.